and welcome to the New Specian Live. It's Mary, not Jillian today.
This is Aston, yes. So what are we going to talk about today, Mary?
Well, I think the topic of the day has been purification, but I do want to say good morning to everyone who's already in the chat. We've got a few of our regulars, Colin, Headley, Maxine, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Wonderful.
And Fitzgerald, of course.
Awesome. We call them the New Specian loyalists.
They are the backbone of New Species.
Yes, they are. And thank you all for joining. So, yeah, I was thinking that today we could, based on what Mary says, we could just give you some feedback on and results that we've seen from a diverse group of New Specians taking certain formulas. We call it the purification. We will discuss it more in detail, what it is and how it works, and why people are seeing the results they're seeing. So those of you who, if you're taking it, the purification system, if you're taking the ideal, and there should just clarify, it's the ideal, if you're taking portions, it may not work as fast and as you all would expect. So we built it into the ideal because each one, not that taking and Mary, you can talk about those people who are taking less than the ideal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some option of the ideal, and they too see results. So we're not even saying that everybody should do the ideal, right? We're saying that if you can, it's a good start, right?
Yeah. Especially if you can do it just for 30 days. So, you don't have to do the whole thing for months at a time. If you can do the ideal version for 30 days, the difference you can see in that amount of time is pretty significant.
Right. So having said that, Mary, let's redefine the purification and kind of getting into little details on why we have it. So everyone can understand. So the idea is given birth to by the fact that there's so many people, so many New Specians, so many clients who come in and they have numerous issues. They have numerous health issues across their labs, across their imaging. And we can't just focus on one tiny little thing. We can't just focus on helping blood pressure when there's infection, bacteria, the A1C is an issue, the chemistry panel or the metabolic panel where the liver and the kidney and the electrolytes are. There's a problem. The CBC is a problem, white blood cells, red blood cells. So you look across the spectrum of the labs, and if we just, in some cases, Mary, if we're focusing on one little issue out of a constellation of issues based on the labs, and the constellation includes what people are feeling, the pain they're in, the misery they're in, they can't sleep. And all these feelings, suffering people are having, those are not reflected in any lab. No lab can reflect.
Right.
And I know, by the way, that's why I wrote the books, and we're not going to talk about that. Perspective. It's a whole part of health and life that is not addressed by medicine that we try to address. So back to the purification. Someone has a constellation of issues, and we want to give them the best opportunity, Mary, to restore, revitalize the healing systems in the body. The body's healing system, that's what we're trying to restore, all of them. The main ones, they're like 6 or so main healing system. Even though we have so many organs, so many glands, the healing system structure the way God makes us. We have to restore the healing system for someone to have the best opportunity of recovery. Thus, the purification system that we've created.
And just to add to that too, when we look at someone who has those constellations of issues, they're never isolated from one another because all of our body systems are interconnected. And so, even if you did try to focus on one, it might not be as successful because all of those other issues are compounding and contributing to the problem.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And Mary, if there are ways that you think that I can explain it, in greater details or specificity, just to convey the importance of what we're trying to do or what we have been doing and helping a lot of people, just ask away, let me know. But what you said is exactly right. And maybe let's take prostate, for example. That is probably it's one of the biggest issue. Even if it's not cancer, prostate cancer is one of the biggest issue that we encounter at New Species, right?
Yeah. And it affects quality of life, mental health, physical health, and then the stress and the concern is going to turn into prostate cancer. So it's a really big deal.
Right. And we have so many examples. One example is that we had 4 or 5, maybe 6 New Species gentlemen who had prostate issues. Not going to call names, we don't do that. And we had to go back to the drawing board and create something, even though the vast majority of New Species men are getting good results from what we normally would just provide to them. There were this 4 or 5 or 6 New Species men, gentlemen who weren't seeing the results that they should see, that we think they should see, and they think that they should see, I would say, even though they actually haven't complained. But when we see something that needs fixing, we fix. That's what we do.
We do hold ourselves to an unreasonably high standard, but I think it drives us to do a better job.
I think so. So that's a good good example of why we needed the purification system, or we needed a more potent system across the board, not just addressing specifically the prostate. So one example I was going to raise, Mary, that you and I talked about it yesterday with this gentleman. He's probably on, and if you're on, that's awesome. Again, we're not going to call names. When what we have seen over the years is that when someone has a prostate issue and the PSA is climbing, what we have done, Mary, and you can attest to that because you drive this as much as I do, just to help. We look at what could be causing the PSA to rise. Right. So we go back to the kidneys and see if there are kidney issues. We go to the bladder. We go to the urethra, which is, the piping, the pipe work from the kidneys that go all the way down where the urine comes from, So we look at the prostate, right? So those are ways we try to evaluate guys. Let's talk to the guys and the ladies now to let them know what the thinking, the mental processing that we go through to find the root cause. So Mary, speak to that.
So that prompted another example where we've had not only guys with kidney issues driving problems, but guys with infections. So when we go look through the urinalysis, we're looking for signs of infection, inflammation, that are triggering problems. When we look at the kidney damage that's contributing, and then that can have a cascade of other effects. So sometimes like that's causing their high blood pressure, and the excess inflammation is also driving up their A1C, and so they have all of these things together. And when someone's dealing with that kind of inflammatory burden, just giving them some prostate support is not going to be enough.
Right. Exactly. So there we go. As we said before, we have to look at the constellation of issues that could be driving this one issue and potentially driving other issues, which is kind of sort of the root cause. So that takes us back to the purification, Mary, because, and that's partly why I wanted to raise it. The purification works for other restoration that the body needs to do, folks. So, but we have been using the purification with some of these men and other men with prostate, with high PSA and prostate issues. And the results that I see, I'm going to speak for me now, man. I'm not even going to speak for you. I'm going to speak for me. The results I see is, the results are quite extraordinary over, in some cases, 30 days or 60 days. I've seen PSA that have gone from 10 all the way down to 6 within 30 days or something like that. So that's why I want to talk about the purification. But you go ahead, Mary.
Well, I was just going to say, that's a really fantastic example. It's not going to happen for everyone, but right. I have not seen anyone who does the ideal for 30 days and does not see some sort of change, whether it's a significant decrease in their frequency, their PSA moving down a point or more. So those are examples of what could happen, but it's not a guarantee it's going to happen.
Right. So let's put that in perspective. I'm happy you raised that, because all of you, boys, I call you boys because you're my boys and I'm your boy. So, all of you, when you go see your urologist, and if you say to that urologist, not every single one, there are many urologists who embrace new species because they see what new species has done for them, for their patients. Mm-hmm. And their patients are our clients. So you go to a urologist and your PSA, let's say your PSA was 4.1. It was 4.1. And you said to the urologist, you change your diet, you change your lifestyle, you exercise, you take new species, and your PSA in 3 months or 6 months, it goes from 4.1. All right, let me say it again. 4.1. It goes from 4.1 to 4 to 4. It dropped 0.1. In 3 months or 6 months, most urologists on the earth will laugh at you and say, oh, that's not possible. Because when PSA goes up, it only keeps going. So to your point, Mary, when someone see their PSA dropping 0.1, 0.2, 0.5, they don't, guys, you don't realize, guys and ladies, your husband, you don't realize that 0.1 happening within 3 months is like a massive earthquake in the medical industry, because it's not supposed to happen. So when we see results, like that within 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, as long as the PSA is moving in the right direction, moving down, that's what you want, gentlemen, and that's what we want. And then maybe we can talk about the other side. Some PSA, some PSA levels do go up, and you speak to that, Mary, because you had a recent case.
I've had a few, so it's in that little cohort of I call them our stubborn guys. They don't mind.
No,
That
we're not saying it's your fault, gentlemen.
it's
We're not
not
saying it's
you
your
being
fault.
stubborn, it's just your prostate.
Right. Yeah, some prostate are
Um,
more stubborn than others. And we're going to talk about those stubborn prostates at some point. Go ahead.
so the interesting thing with all of them, though, is that for most, they are very low risk for cancer after
Mm-hmm.
their doctors spend time evaluating. So over the course of maybe 2 to 3 years, they've had multiple MRIs, they've done biopsies, everything comes back clean on the biopsy, and their MRIs are showing enlargement, but not high risk for cancer.
Right.
So we want to watch volume and density with those cases. And when we look over the course and we see that their density is staying very low, there's a lot less risk of the cancer proliferating. And usually, in my experience, it's the guys who stay really strict with their new species, even though they might not see their PSA come down, their density stays low and their volume doesn't increase significantly. And so even though they might not see the same kind of result as someone else who is seeing their PSA drop back down toward a more normal range, because there is still some sort of chronic inflammation that their body is dealing with, it's not turning to malignancy, which is what we want. And their symptoms of like the urinary frequency, the urgency are much better. So sometimes we're stabilizing. We're not going back to perfectly normal, but we're stabilizing a situation that almost certainly would have gone to a worse place.
Right. And that's a lot. That's a lot, guys. So what I want to explain now, Mary, is what you just said there. So there's a term that we use, and it's used it's used in medicine as well, in the medical industry, and the term is when you get the body. And by the way, this goes for probably all systems and forms in nature and the universe. I kind of look for when I look at issues, I try to look at it and see how that issue applies across all human beings when it comes to health. And if it does apply across all human beings or all living things, it also applies, I guess, across the whole universe, which makes it a law of nature. So in this case, what Mary just described is a situation where the immune system is strong enough to stop that inflammation from getting worse. So the immune system gets so strong, the WBC, it gets so strong, so powerful that it can stop, your body can stop that disease, whatever it is. We're talking about prostate, but it applies to all health issues, and there are about 19,000 health issues or diseases now that are described by the United States Medical Association. So you got the immune system to stop the prostate, in this case, from getting worse. And as Mary said, the urologists, they're no more proactive than ever using the prostate volume and density. And I see Mary sometimes pulling out her calculator and doing math. She works it out. Yeah,
the doctors don't always put it on there, but they give you the information you need to figure it out.
Right. So there's a calculation. So we do some math. We do a lot of math as well when it comes to your health. We do actually do math that you don't see. So, but it's called immune equilibrium, where the immune system and the issue is at a stalemate, where the issue is not overpowering the immune system, and the immune system can keep it at bay, not to get worse. So let's say the PSA is 20, and the PSA stays at 20, but the density in the prostate is not as hard, and the volume is not huge, voluminous, and the volume can also be affected by lesions that are in there that push the geometry of the prostate the way it should be for good blood circulation out of whack. So if the density is not bad or it's good, the prostate is still getting good blood circulation, and the volume is not so bad that disrupt, the blood circulation as well. So the volume is good, the density is good, the good blood circulation going there, the white blood cells are getting there, foods are getting there, oxygen is getting there. This goes for all issues, whether it's a heart issue, a lung issue, brain issue, it doesn't matter, folks. It just applies this theory. It's not a theory, it's actually empirical science. It's a law, it's scientific. So you apply this theory to any organ that's going bad, the kidneys, you keep it at this immune equilibrium. And for some people, you're going to be able to live until you're 100 years old, and that issue don't kill you. And better yet, not that anything is better than life, or in addition to that, you can live your life. You can fly, you can take vacation, you can, take trips, you can do your walks, you can eat your favorite foods, because you have this homeostasis where the body is in balance enough. It's not perfect, but the ratio, which is mathematics again, the ratio is good enough for the body to stay stable enough for the disease not to get worse and turn into something dreadful.
Exactly.
So sometimes folks, sometimes friends, brothers and sisters, sometimes in this life, that's all we can hope for, all of us. That because short of God coming down and working miracles, and you all know, like I do, that God doesn't answer all prior prayers.
Let's just say he doesn't always say yes to what you want. He answers.
Well, he doesn't answer the way we want him to. Like the gentleman I spoke with yesterday, his PSA was pretty high, and the doctors want to cut out his prostate. And he was like, Aston, I am not cutting out my prostate. And I'm sure he's praying and asking God to make this thing just go away. But maybe God has a way to make it go away. Maybe we are God's instruments, or God's right hand or left hand to help. But yes, sometimes that's all we can do, is to get the body in a place for you, to help you get the body, help you get your body with diet and lifestyle and new species. And when I say lifestyle, we now have a wide variety of things that we do, like the new fasting and stress management. We do a lot of that now. So we can get your body to get to a point, to a point where the disease is not overriding the body and driving you closer to a more devastating situation where you're sick or you're bedridden and you're on medication, you're doing medication, surgeries, and all these things. So sometimes that's all we can do. We can, as Mary said, we can say that because someone's PSA went from 4.1 to 4, the timeline for some people could be way longer. It could be months, it could be a year, it could be a way longer. But Mary, if we're able to support their bodies to have this immune equilibrium, sometimes, folks, that's all you can expect, and you will still be able to live your life. All right, I talk a lot. So Mary, your turn.
Well, we have a question that we should get to in a moment. I just want to tag on 2 more things. So Fitzgerald said his PSA is now 1.32, which is fantastic. I know he was working on that for a while, so it's headed.
So Mary, do you have his address? We're going to send him a bill. Just a special bill.
He's going to be in there to see you today, I'm quite sure. So you bill him in person.
All right. Bring your checkbook, Fitzgerald. Bring your checkbook.
But the lifestyle factors that you brought up, I want to emphasize something really, really important that I run
Hmm.
into with every guy who is dealing with prostate issues.
Okay.
So as soon as they start to feel the symptoms of the urgency and the frequency, the first thing that they do is the worst thing that they can do, which is to stop drinking water.
Right.
So
Right.
this is a conversation that I have all the time. And I want, if you are feeling those symptoms, your body is dealing with inflammation. And if you lower your fluid intake and start drinking less water instead of more water, you're going to make the inflammation worse. So short term, you might be solving the problem where you're not running to the bathroom all day long, but it's actually going to make the underlying issue worse. So it is so, so, so important to drink more water when you feel those symptoms come.
So that's a bombshell you just dropped there, man. So we can't just leave it at that.
It's very important.
You mentioned water, so I want everybody, don't drop off, but I want everybody to whether you go to Google or whatever, how many research this, how many bacteria are in the human body? How many? Approximately how many?
It's going to be
So
billions, trillions, right?
so my quick search, and I'm not saying it's correct because AI is wrong a lot, unfortunately, and Google is wrong a lot, and science is not perfect. But I am seeing 38 trillion, 38 trillion in the one average human body, people. So let's go back to fortunately, maybe only 20 or 50 of those trillions are destructive to human life. That's the good news. But those that are destructive, they can destroy the body. They can destroy the body to the point where the DNA is mutated, the genes are mutated, and it leads to cancer. So the bacteria is not necessarily causing cancer, but it creates the conditions for the cells to get sick and the cells to multiply rapidly, and that leads to cancer. So that's what cancer is, when sick cells are multiplying rapidly, uncontrollably. That's what in a tissue or in a small area in the body, in an organ, that is actually the scientific definition of cancer, not what a lot of us would normally think. So, Mary, the reason why guys and girls, when you have urine frequency or urgency and you cut back on water, a lot of the bacteria that we're talking about that's going in the body and going through the body, we have a lot of bacteria in the stomach, in the small intestine and the colon. We have a ton of it all the way down to the rectum. We have bacteria in the bladder. We have bacteria in the kidneys. We have bacteria everywhere. No organ, even the brain, no organ is immune from bacteria. And even if there's no bacteria in that particular tissue or organ, there are bacterial particles of bacteria, not the whole bacteria, particles of bacteria. Now, our bodies are programmed to purge this excess, which include bacteria that's not supposed to be in our body, the bad ones, especially the bad ones. So imagine, guys and girls, you have a bacteria in the kidney or the bladder. In this case, guys, let's speak to you, the prostate. You're not drinking enough water. The body doesn't have enough hydrogen. So water is H2O. The H is hydrogen. That's how we get hydration. Hydrate. So hydrate comes from hydrogen. So we're not drinking enough water, H2O. Those bacteria are not going to get fleshed out. you're going to have a lot of inflammation build up in the kidneys, in the bladder, in the urethra. And that inflammation is what bacteria, like cancer cells, love. They love nasty places because nasty places, like a swamp, does not have enough oxygen to kill them or scare them off. So you're not drinking water. These bacteria just sit there and they multiply and they multiply and they multiply. And that's what becomes a UTI or an infection in the bladder, in the kidney, in the urethra, in the prostate. And now you have prostatitis. And if you have a predisposed issue in the prostate, let's say you have lesions in there that were innocent, they were growing, that shouldn't be there, they were growing, but now they have bacteria living in them. And that can lead to prostate cancer, but it also will cause, not may, it will cause the PSA to skyrocket. Yeah. So we started on purification, Mary, and here we are, half an hour later, coming back to purification. But you have a question. Let's address the question first.
Yes, let's get to Serene's question. So Serene said...
So concluding very quickly, every one of us should be drinking at least half our body weight in ounces of water. Half the body weight. So if you weigh 100 pounds, short of you have congestive heart disease, lung disease, kidney disease, where the doctor, your medical practitioner put you on water or fluid restriction, you must follow that. You must follow your doctors. Must. Not us. Follow your doctors. If they have you on fluid restriction, you should follow that very strictly. Now, that's the amount of water that each of us should be drinking on a daily basis to at least have a chance, not a guarantee, of our bodies flushing out bacteria, viruses, parasites that could be lurking in the different organs. Okay? And ladies, I want to speak to you. That's why you have UTI and you have all these other infection in that whole area of your body. Your cervical area, the endometrial area, the ovarian area, the uterine area, all that from the kidney all the way down. That's why you have a lot of bacterial issues like UTI, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you too must be drinking the right amount of water, especially if you have been diagnosed in the past with yeast infection or with UTIs. Okay, so yesterday, Mary, you and I were on the phone with a gentleman. I'm not sure if you were on at that point. I was saying to him that he should go home for 1 month and handcuff himself to the bathroom, maybe to the shower rod or something. Handcuff yourself in there. If you're gonna drink water and pee every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, handcuff yourself in there and stay in there and get the water in. I don't care what errands you have to run. You're going to pay your mortgage. You're going to make your car payment. None of those are important as your body lunging into UTI infection that can lead to cancer. And now your dear life is imperiled. That's the importance of water. All right.
On to our question. So for Serene, good morning. I need to control my weight gain because of my menopause.
Okay, so we have two major issues in there. And I'm assuming that Serene may be female. If you are, the issue with weight and hormones, which is the menopause, is a hormonal condition. If you're suffering, or if it's causing bone density issues, that's what menopause does. Or if it's causing heart issue, it can cause congestive heart disease. It can cause heart disease. menopause. Those ladies, all of you who are listening, those are two of the, really bad symptoms, not symptoms, conditions that exist in the body for menopause is bone density issues and heart issues and brain issues. And the reason for that, Serene, is because the estrogen level is not what it should be. The progesterone is not what it should be. A woman's life is tied to her estrogen, and that's how you get stronger heart muscles, stronger bone, stronger brain. The two most important muscles in the body is the brain and the heart. So if you have menopausal issue, all women, you should keep that in mind. And it's a hormonal issue. Now, for a lot of women, why I said if Serene is a woman, for a lot of women, weight gain is hormonal and they don't know, and their doctors may know. I'm going to give all the doctors out there a big up now, Mary. I'm going to praise them. You all know, doctors, that for a lot of women, not all women who are overweight, is hormonal, and the hormones have to be fixed. If that's the case, Serene, we have to see your hormone panel to see if that's the reason why you think it's tied to your menopause. But we also want to see your labs in general as well, because digestive issues is probably the number one cause of weight gain. A lot of people have digestive issues. They eat the foods, the metabolism, which we didn't get to, Mary, in our chart as yet, but we may not even get to it because we may not even get to it. But metabolism is the most important healing system in the human body. No system in there is more important than metabolism, and that's why it's number one on that chart. So, Serena, if you're eating certain foods, it could be healthy foods. You could be doing green juices every day. You could be starving yourself every day and put on weight. I have a lot of ladies who come to New Species and they eat once a day and they barely eat much, and they go to the gym and they still put on weight. And the reason is because it's a metabolic issue that needs to be fixed. So if that's the case with you, Serene, whether it's metabolism or hormones, those are the two major conditions. And by the way, Mary, on our chart, we also have hormones in it as well. So for you, Serene, the chart Mary, let's put the chart up, because
yes, let's do it.
We're talking in circles. So you will see on this chart, there are 12 items. The first one is metabolism. And look at that. The second one is hormones. So for you, Serene, your healing systems, our healing systems are actually systems that support the body, not just heal, they rebuild the body. But the healing systems can turn against us when they go bad. And that's another reason, Mary, why we have the purification. If you're looking at the chart, purification is at number 7. And it comes right after those 5-6 items, because those 6 items that you see there, I'll read them for you: metabolism, hormone, immune system, mitochondria, genome, which is DNA and genes, and ribosome. I think Mary pronounced it ribosome, but Mary is American and I'm Jamaican, so please forgive us for that little war there. But those 6 systems are what our bodies use to support itself. And when our bodies get sick or have issues, those are the systems that the body use. Those are the healing system the body uses to fix itself. So it's support. So whatever body uses to support, rebuild, purify, clean, whatever words you want to use, is the same system our bodies use to rebuild itself. So Serene, based on what you're saying, we haven't seen your labs, but based on what you're saying, if you do have weight issues that are related to hormones and metabolism, we can have a chat about it. So we can take your number or your email, or you can take our number and you can reach out to us later today or Monday, and we can discuss how we can help you. So for everybody, a lot of times when we put on weight, sometimes it could be diet. It could be diet because we eat a lot of, junk, but a lot of other times it's not because of the junk you're eating, it's because of the metabolism and the hormonal system not working in sync, and they're not healthy. Those two systems are not healthy. I hope that helps, Serene. If you have any follow-up, Serene, go ahead and fire away.
More to add to it, you can post it in the comments. Otherwise, I did post the email and the phone number so that you can contact us later.
Okay.
All right. So our next question is from Isis. And she asked, do you recommend taking vitamin D3 plus K2 along with magnesium? This is the latest trend to get the maximum benefits. And what can I purchase from you to cover all of these needs?
So I don't think, Mary, I've ever recommended. You see, if not most, all of my Ricos over the last decade. You've been looking at my Ricos. I don't think I've ever recommended K2 or any K to anyone, because usually, I know you use the word trend out there or fad out there. And Isis, by the way, I love your name. Isis is one of my heroes, one of my African heroes. So I love that name. So we don't follow trend and fads. We follow. Mary, could you put up that chart again? I want to show. I want to show everyone what we follow. This is what we follow. We follow the biological systems of the body. We follow the biochemistry of the body, the whole body, not just one part. So everything we do, this whole chart is all biochemistry and physics. And when I say physics, I mean empirical physics. So nothing here is made up. So when it comes to, and I single out K2 because our formulas, Mary, they're raw and they're natural. They're whole foods. They literally are whole foods. And we don't use any synthetic material in all the formulas and products that we have. So anyone who is taking, let's say, even our detox, or they're taking the Almu, which are made from plants and herbs and other whole foods, those plants, by default nature, have vitamin K in them. And some plants just have higher levels of different vitamin K. But we don't put these plants or herbs in our formulas because of vitamin K or even vitamins. The formulas where we call it our vitamins is in the body system 1, 9, and 25. And then we have the B vitamins separately, the B vitamins family with vitamin C and alfalfa. We have that separately. So that's how we handle our vitamins. So when it comes to the vitamin D, vitamin D3, every one of you should be taking a vitamin D3. We have, I think I'm sitting next to you.
You should have one right there. And
it's right here. Here it is.
There we go.
And it has the vitamin A in there. And the vitamin A, we didn't add it. Nature added it.
Exactly.
Our vitamin D is a fish oil, cod liver oil, literally the cod liver. So it comes with the vitamin A naturally. So every cell in the human body, trillions, probably up to 80 trillion cells in any average adult human body, up to, some are less, some probably more. Mm-hmm. But every cell has vitamin D receptor, and those vitamin D receptors, they need vitamin D stored in them. Otherwise, the cell goes mad. And for ladies, we just spoke to Serene. And for the guys with the prostate, when vitamin D is low, it can have a devastating impact, negative impact on the body. Devastating. Because vitamin D is actually not a vitamin, it's a hormone, going back to Serene and menopause. So, Serene, if you're still there, you should be taking, find a completely natural whole food vitamin D if you don't get ours, and make sure you're on that if you have menopause. That will assist your menopausal symptoms as well. So back to the question, yes, we have the vitamin D3, and then we have so we don't so magnesium is an element. Magnesium by itself is a particle. It's an element. It's not biological. It's actually a metal. It falls in the metal family. So, and then you see that Mary still have the chart up there. We support everything on this chart with whole foods, complete whole foods. So when it comes to magnesium by itself, I know it helps some people with blood circulation and with sleeping. That's what they think, and stress and all of that. That's a fad that's out there. But we have a multi-mineral. It's a complex of all the minerals, and the magnesium is in there. And the reason why I'm calling out the mineral complex is because our mineral complex is made up of whole foods. So it's the mineral family that everybody should be taking, and it's from whole foods. And yes, magnesium is in there. So if anyone feels that they need magnesium or any of the other minerals that they believe they're lacking in it, our mineral complex, the way we design it, it is a multi-mineral, and that's what we would suggest. I would not recommend anyone to be taking magnesium by itself in any form, but if you do, make sure your doctor recommends it. And if your doctor recommends it, you should follow your doctor's instruction, because if your doctor recommends magnesium, RK2 is because your doctor is seeing some specific issue in your lab report or your image reports that they are addressing, requiring you to take a chemical or a metal or a particle or an atom. That's what magnesium is. So that's hard chemical by itself. So if you're taking it, you should be talking to your doctors. And everything I say, hopefully you record it. And if you don't record it, it's going to be on YouTube when we're done here. You can go in there and record it and take it back to your doctor and say, "Oh, Aston at New Species says this about magnesium. Is it true or false?" And that goes for all of you. Everything I've ever said over the last 20 years about New Species, you're free to take recordings of it or get the words of it and take it to your doctors, because when you're doing that, you're doing a good thing. You want to make sure that your medical practitioner is in agreement with the persons at New Species who are helping to support your body. You all should be doing that. All of you should do that. So that's how you're going to have the synergy between us, New Species, who we're natural health, and your medical practitioner. You should all do that. And your doctors may not like it, but you shouldn't care. You should still do
it. To conclude, Isis, if you want to cover those specific nutrients, you can get them all from our vitamin D, from our multi-mineral. And if you actually take our multivitamin, which I'll post in the chat as well, that has alfalfa in it, which does naturally contain vitamin K. But the reason that we go into all this explanation is because while it is important for your body to have access to all of those different nutrients in order to optimize using them, we want to source things from nature in a way that your body can easily process and digest them, rather than like cherry picking each vitamin, each mineral, each nutrient, because then you're going to spend your whole life doing chemistry trying to figure out exactly what to take. And it's better to just get it in the form that God gave it to us.
and deciding what to take. And how do you know? Oh, I'm speaking to everyone now, not just I said. I'm speaking to all of you. How do you know the microgram of the K2 or the magnesium you should be taking? How do you know the microgram or the milligram that you should be taking? Because when you take chemicals, and you can poison yourself. You can poison your
Mm-hmm.
liver. So, and the best example I can think of in this moment, and maybe Mary has one, is the venom of a snake. The
Mm-hmm.
venom of a snake, a rattler, is medicinal. It is medicinal. But if you take too much of that chemical, it can poison you and it can be fatal. Same way you take too much chemicals of any kind, and it can cause damage in the liver and other parts of the body, damage in the stomach, the intestine, the colon, and other organs like the liver that has to process it. And that's why we have all our formulas or biological, they're complexes with they're biochemicals that are, that are in the biological factor. So when you take our formulas, if you have any excess magnesium, any excess iron, any of these elements or chemicals, the body will naturally expunge the excess of the new species that have, because your body doesn't need it. And when you take the hard chemicals by themselves, they get stored in the liver, they get stored in different parts of the body. And that's why, Mary, we we have so many clients that come to us and we ask them, did you work around chemicals? Did you live around chemicals? Have you used a lot of body chemicals? Because they have lung disease, they have bone issues, or bone cancers and lung cancer. They have all these issues that at least I know that they're related to chemicals. And that's what chemicals can do. Chemicals are good, but chemicals can also poison if it builds up in our bodies at a certain ratio where there's too much for the liver to expunge, there's too much for the immune system to get rid of. And Mary, we didn't talk much about purification. I think we should just spend one or 2 minutes on it.
We have two questions we didn't get to yet, so
Okay, all right. You want to go? All right, you're the boss. You go to the questions.
so well, I just don't want to ignore that we have them. So Ya Guide had asked, and Serene did follow up that she takes our cleanse and vitamin D sometimes. So that's wonderful, Serene, and you're getting a jump start on your green juice. Just give us a call and we can get into more detail about what you can do. For Ya Guide, what products are good for stomach ulcers? And then our other question came in right toward the end for seizures. I don't know if we're going to be able to cover both in the time we have left. So I apologize, Mark, if we don't get to yours.
Right. So the stomach issue is the easier one. So usually, the wonderful thing there is that we've been doing these species for over 20 years. So we've seen tens of thousands of people we talk to, a lot of them face to face, a lot of them on the phone. We see their labs, we see their imaging, tens of thousands over the past 20 years. So what we can tell you is that most of the people I've seen who come to new species with ulcer in the stomach is because they have a digestive issue of some kind. It could be gastritis, or they have acid reflux, but are a buildup of acid that they don't know about because it's not coming up into their throat and burning their throat to tell them they have acid reflux. So the acidity, though, in the stomach or the intestine or any part of the body, ulcers can be in any part of the body. Ulcers mean the tissue is burned, it is severely burned and inflamed, and probably most of it is still active with inflammation. So we have a digestive system, Mary, that has the bee pollen. So if this ulcer, they should be taking the bee pollen a teaspoon a day or teaspoon twice a day, along with at least the LNU formulas to rebuild the damaged cells, the damaged tissues. That's and the inflammation there will need to be. The body needs to rebuild that. Go ahead, Mary.
I was just going to clarify for the body systems. In my personal experience, they almost
Mm-hmm.
always need to be taking an ounce of it to see the kind of
Mm-hmm.
result they're hoping for with digestive issue. You
Right.
you
Maybe
agree?
maybe
Yeah.
even yes, maybe even twice a day. Maybe even I've had clients over the years who had to take 2 ounces a day. And when I say body system, body system one is the most basic.
Right.
But if you have the budget to do something stronger because you're suffering and you want to see results as fast as possible, you could do the body system 9 that we used to call the LNU 9, or you can do even the 25, which is even more potent, but you should still do an ounce of any one of those that you've chosen. But if you're doing the body system and the issue, which is also can be chronic. If it's chronic, if you were taking the bee pollen a teaspoon twice a day, and the body system 1, 2 ounces daily, 1 ounce in the morning, 1 ounce at night. So that's an easy issue for your body to fix. And then since you have an ulcer, and if you have acid reflux, you also know that there are certain foods that are triggers. So if you have an idea of what those foods are that are triggering you having symptoms or discomforts or pain, then stay away from those foods for another 2 or 3 months. Not forever. Just for
Right.
2 or 3 months. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then Mark's question: do you have any formula for seizure currently?
So, formula for seizure, think of it this way, and Mary, let's put our chart up again. I guess I'm gonna love this chart. I love it already, and I'm gonna love it even more because it explains. It's like a theory of everything. It's not a theory of everything, but it's like a theory of everything. So this chart speaks to those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that cause the body to break down. Usually, when someone have a seizure, is because there's something happening in the nervous system, which is the neurological system, that is triggering the seizure. And seizures usually happen when the brain needs to protect itself. So the brain just shut itself down. So seizures actually can be good. It can be bad, but it can be good to prevent or minimize brain damage. So if seizures means that the neurological system, the nervous system needs to be rebuilt. So if you I think we should take this offline because I would want to see the labs, naturally, and I would want to know what medication. I'm sure there's some medication that should be involved if the seizure is perpetual. So
Right.
if you can give us your phone number, or we can give you our phone number, you can give us a call, and we can discuss it more specifically because there are many different types of issues that can lead to seizure, and I do not want to assume and make a recommendation openly like this without having a better understanding of something that is so critical. Seizures can be very critical. So I want to give it, Mary, the attention it deserves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So back to purification. And I think if you all joined since we get started almost an hour ago, you're going to see this chart and the first 6 items up there. That's what the purification is. Those are the systems in the human body that, and all living creatures have these systems at some level. Because we're all related. There isn't a living creature on the earth that we're not related to, even though some of them were here billions of years before we came. So the first 6 items there are when we work with you to support them, whether rebuilding or detoxing or purification, or we have all these other modules below. We have the purification, we have the fasting, we have the stress management, we have spiritual coherence. One day, Mary, we should talk about that. That's probably the most important item on this list, believe it or not,
Mhm.
folks. and we have their meditation, and of course, we have their new species, the supplemental rebellion. But the purification is to allow these first 6 items and this good health and longevity regime program. We use the purification to support them so that the body can support itself. And if the body needs recovery or restoration, the body can restore itself. So that's what those 6 items are. They cover all the organs in the body. They cover every cell, assuming we have 80 trillion in the average human body. The purification system is going to help assist in supporting all these systems. So you can think of them as rebuilding systems, and you can think of them as healing systems beyond the immune system. But without these functioning together, if one of these is not functioning right, the body is sick. If just one is not functioning, because one is going to tear everything down, tear it down. That's what will happen. So you could say disease formation and genesis begins in one or multiple of these, 1 through 6. So the purification, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get your body to restart. We're trying to get your body to restore itself and put you in the purification. It doesn't matter what issue you have, whether it's prostate, heart, brain, fibroids, it doesn't matter what issues you have, especially as we mentioned earlier, if we see multiple issues or a constellation of issues in your labs and your imaging, we will more likely than not push you to do this. Or if you have one major issue that looks really threatening, we may push you to recommend to you to do the purification. Yes, Mary.
I think you said it beautifully.
Oh, thank you. I hope this was helpful. Mary, do you think this was helpful?
I hope so. I think so. I think we got through some great stuff, and we had some wonderful questions after our long spiel on the prostate and purification. So
good. So it was great to have you all, new species. As Mary said earlier, I'm going to paraphrase what she said because she said it so well. You're the backbone, you're the heart and soul of this little company we call New Species. So thank you all for all your support. And we're going to help more people. And the books are still out there. You should get the books. The books are about spiritual coherence. You see here that's what's on the inside of us that can't be addressed by medicine. It's what's on the inside, our emotion, our feelings, our desire, our wants, all these things that affect us with stress and burden us. That's what the books are about. So make sure you all get a copy and keep it in your library as your souvenir of a piece of New Species beside your bottles that you have at home. All right. So have a great weekend, you all.
All right. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.